He married the Hokage's wife? Please subscribe. Episode 71. His mage Ye Chen, who had already attached importance to the other party, once again despises a little. In this case, it is a chase with victory, as long as the momentum is there, even if there are many people on the other side, it is only the part of running. Even if he really chased out of the land of fire, as long as he did not venture into the land of thunder, there would be absolutely no problem. After all, the people of the land of thunder are not fighting in their home arena now. As long as the war continues, they will inevitably be short of supplies. If it is changed to Sarutobi Sasuke at this time, then I am afraid that even if he sacrifices 1,000 people, he will pursue it with 2,000 people. Because the receipt is very rich, if this battle can be completely annihilated, or even half of the Jonin elite, then the country of thunder will shrink and defend in the next 10 years. Ye Chen couldn't help but guess, could it be that Richo didn't fluctuate because of his father's death before, not because this kid had a calm heart, but because he was simply a weak and ungrateful person? Recalling the tumultuous operation in the original book of Ape Flying Sun, Ye Chen felt that it was really possible. Seeing off the 3 generations of Hokage, the civilian ninjas behind them suddenly cheered. Long live Lord Ye Chen. Even Lord Hokage has softened, and sure enough, Lord Ye Chen's momentum is worthy of the position of Hokage. If Lord Ye Chen comes out to run for Hokage, I will definitely bring the whole family to vote for him. Count me, I'm going to pull all my relatives to vote for Lord Ye Chen. With such a strong man leading the team, it seems that we are probably the luckiest in normal war. Who said it wasn't? I was afraid that I would die as soon as I left the village before I set out. Ye Chen listened to everyone's discussion, smiled slightly, and then said angrily, "Go down, don't gather here, there is no need to arrange a defense line behind, Jonin has already retired." Hearing Ye Chen's words, the people below cheered even more. As for patrols, Ye Chen also said that there is no need, these people really spread patrols, and they do not have a large range of their own heart network, and they are prone to danger, so let Ye Chen come alone. At this time, these 3,000 people have no task at all, and in the days to come, it is estimated that as long as they chat and fart in the camp. Ye Chen had a headache, because so far, the bloodline reward of that Uchiha spot related to these 3,000 people had not been issued to him. Then it shows that it is not enough to force Jonin to retreat, and the requirement for the option is 0 people killed. Then it is likely that it will be completely settled when World War II ends. And these people's strength is not good, Ye Chen really does not dare to leave, so until he has a few other shadows, and the exact location of Hanzo, he can't move casually. Otherwise, if these people accidentally die one of them, his reward will be lost, and he didn't expect that Ye Chen would one day be a nanny. Thinking of this, Ye Chen no longer thought about chasing Jonin, he could pursue and expand his record, but he couldn't leave 3,000 people alone. Let him take it with him to sneak attack, the sword on the battlefield has no eyes, maybe when will one die? However, this nanny, Ye Chen does not plan to fool around, and in the next few days, Ye Chen plans to start training these people's naval physical skills. That's right, it's the physical technique in corpse cultivation experience. In the past, civilian ninjas had mediocre qualifications and no efficient cultivation methods, so although they were very hard, their physical skills were very poor. But with Ye Chen here, it's different, the experience of naval physical cultivation is applicable to anyone. Even Kabi, who was extremely weak at the beginning in the pirate world, eventually became a Dazwa, and may even become a general in the future. This group of civilians did not need to question Ye Chen's loyalty, and simple physical exercise, this was not a big move at the bottom of the box. As long as the 3-color domineering is kept in hand, no matter how this group of people trains, it is just an elite endurance to support death. The 3-color domineering is Ye Chen's current move at the bottom of the box, and he is naturally not so kind to hand it over to others. After returning to the camp and giving some simple instructions, Ye Chen immediately began to replenish the consumption of physical energy, that is, to eat. He eats now, it is really very demeanor of the pirate world, what buns with legs, and even more, bite by bite. You must know that although the people in the Hokage world are strong, most of them have the same amount of food as Ye Chen's previous life. That is, the Chiu Dao clan will be slightly older, but it is not as exaggerated as Ye Chen. His meal, let alone eat food for 20 people, really exhausted the kitchen. Fortunately, this battle has just begun, so the military food is sufficient, otherwise just one Ye Chen, I am afraid that the reserves of this army will have to be eaten. Ye Chen was enjoying the food here, but Yunin's life was not good. In the camp where 10,000 elite people were stationed, seeing the 2-tailed human pillar Liu Yehua, dragging the Thunder Shadow who had been seriously injured and unconscious back, the entire Yunin's heart sank. And the most important thing is that the elite shinobi Doyle who went to the back of the temple before has not returned, and even the 8-tailed man pillar power has disappeared. This made all the Jonin ninjas can't help but guess, what kind of enemy did such a team of elites encounter, can they have long been so miserable? Could it be that Ye Chen did it? But isn't Ye Chen just a hairy boy who has just entered the film level? The previous intelligence said that Ye Chen was exhausted from defeating a Wen Shuoshurlang, How did it suddenly become so strong after only a few months? There were some veteran ninjas, and at this time, they unconsciously recalled the fear of Yunin's invasion in Uchiha. However, no one will equate Ye Chen with Yujibwa Spot, and the strength of Yujibwa Spot is not comparable to a hairy boy. They thought more that Konoha must have played tricks, maybe ambushed the Hokage and the nine-tailed pillar force, otherwise they would definitely not be able to defeat the Thunder Shadow. In this Jonin force, there are naturally other high-level officials, such as the Secretary of the Thunder Shadow of the Thunder Country, and the extremely elite Shaman Elder of the Thunder Country, who also came together. Now seeing the second tail gray come back, even Lei Ying was injured like this, and he went up to hold accountable at the first time. What the hell is going on? Did Sarutobi come with the 9 tails? If so, this battle will have to be considered whether or not to continue. Among them, the Secretary of the Thunder Shadow was the first to speak. This is a sexy woman with coffee-colored skin and silver hair and blue eyes. If Ye Chen and Zilai also saw it, I am afraid that they couldn't help but admire it. Excellent. Episode 72. Hearing the secretary's words, Wei Zhuli thought about it and told the truth. No, it was only Ye Chen who shot, he defeated all of us alone. Even if she didn't want to say it, this news would spread throughout the ninja world sooner or later, and then they would also lose face. It was better to admit it early and find some measures to deal with it. And the beautiful secretary in front of her, named Mumui, she is not an ordinary person. Their family is a well-known high IQ in the country of thunder. Many decisions in the land of thunder are made by the Mumui family, who give advice, so that they can survive until the present in the warring states period. And there is a faint tendency to catch up with Konoha, all of which this family contributes to. And the country of thunder is not as intriguing as other countries, and it can be seen that it is a very united country, both in the original book and from various fan works. Because they themselves have no advantages, the country of thunder is not like other countries. There are so many blood-stained clans, and some of them only have physical skills and thunder done that have evolved to the extreme. This is not blood either, but their own wealth accumulated through experience. Hearing the words of the two-tailed Yuzu Yehua, the sexy secretary immediately frowned. Ye Chen? Isn't he only one thunder god armor? In the early stage of the shadow level, he is not so strong, right? But the next words of Yuzu Yehua made the secretary speechless. She first said that Ye Chen did not use the thunder god armor, but the bloodstains higher than the thunder god armor. Then he also talked about Ye Chen singled out Thunder Shadow, and defeated Thunder Shadow in speed, and then he also beat Thunder Shadow and killed an 8-tailed human pillar force. As for the elite of the last hall, Shane Doyle, so far has not returned, I am afraid it is also explained. In addition to this Mumui, there were many elites who were shinobi, and when they heard this, they didn't believe it at the first time. Including a little ghost who looks no more than 4 or 5 years old, his appearance is very similar to the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow, and it is the future 4th generation of Thunder Shadow. After listening to Yuzu Yehua's words, this kid stood up and said as soon as possible, "Impossible. Father is the strongest Thunder Shadow in all generations, and his speed is the first in the ninja world. How is it possible to lose to a little ghost?" Looking at him so excited, it was as if the person who lost the first speed in the ninja world was not his father, but actually him. However, as the son of 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, he probably respects his father more than others, and even regards the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow as a target for transcendence. Now his goal was suddenly defeated by a descendant, and even seriously injured and on the verge of death. This young 4th-generation Thunder Shadow is really difficult to accept. The other high-level officials of the Thunder Country present were also awakened by this kid's words, and then they all wanted to open their mouths and ask Yuzu Yehua what was the situation. But at this time, the wise man, Mumui, raised his jade hand. Seeing her movements, everyone immediately stopped making noise. Don't look at this woman, only has the level of upper patience, but the IQ is probably the highest in all clouds. Withdraw the troops immediately, remember to maintain good discipline in the troops, and absolutely keep Ye Chen's affairs secret. To the people below, don't say that Lord Lei Ying is seriously injured and can't wake up. As soon as this woman spoke, the people present were stunned again, but her previous decisions were able to turn the tide, so no one questioned this kind of knot. Only the 4 generations of Lei Ying, who were still young, stood up and said at the first time, "Why should you withdraw the army? The country of thunder still has a large army of 10,000 people, and there are several elite shinobi who can fight again. At this time to withdraw the army, the previous efforts." Before he finished speaking, Mumui said with a cold face, "If you want to destroy the land of thunder, you can continue to fight." She is not like others, she has an inexplicable trust in Lei Ying, she only has absolutely calm objective thinking. She had always known that Lei Ying was a little reckless in everything, and sometimes even ignored her advice. For example, in this big war, when he heard that Ye Chen had stolen the thunder god armor of the Thunder Country, he came to the battle angrily. This is completely contrary to the strategy she previously formulated to fish in World War II. Ye Chen's sudden rise certainly surprised her, but Ye Chen is a person from Konoha, where is the center of the ninja world, where are the families and geniuses without thousands of years of end? It is not surprising how many geniuses come out of this country. She felt that even if it wasn't for Ye Chen's rise, changing to Konoha's recent ape flying son to kill 3 apprentices, I am afraid that Jonin would be able to stop the pace of attack. So in addition to being shocked at the first time, she immediately believed Yuzu Yehua's words. Since this battle has come out of Ye Chen's super shadow level variable, then it must not be fought, but she has been afraid of the country of Tian and the country of Iron. These 2 countries are too abnormal. There is no reaction to the country of Thunder. There is definitely some conspiracy brewing. If you continue to go deep so alone, once the elite of 10,000 people in the country of Thunder is destroyed, then there will only be the end of destroying the country. Hearing Mumui talk about destroying the country, even the young 4th generation of Thunder Shadow did not dare to speak at this moment. Compared with the life and death of the Thunder country, the honor of any Thunder Shadow was false. Next, under this Mumui's arrangement, the troops of the Land of Thunder began to retreat in an orderly manner. The people below only heard that the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow were besieged, so they didn't know Ye Chen's powerful record. Mumui's approach is also afraid that Ye Chen's affairs will affect morale. After all, the country of Thunder has been hit by the hands of Uchiha, and the ninjas of the entire country of Thunder are lifeless during that time. If they come again now, I am afraid that their combat power will be reduced by 3%. However, their country of Thunder was very lucky. This time the ape flying sun slash was originally to pursue, but because Ye Chen's people did not follow, so because of his character of fear of death, he did not come to take risks. If they only face the country of Tian and the country of Iron, these 2 countries have only 4,000 people, they should still be able to withdraw to the country of Thunder, but they will definitely have to pay the price. And their subsequent retreat proved that Mamui's strategy was correct. There was nothing going on along the way, but when I reached the border of Tanakuni, I was about to enter the Land of Thunder. The road starts to get harder and harder, and it's full of detonator traps and all kinds of dark traps. Even from time to time, people came out from behind and directly attacked their transport troops. Fortunately, the arrangement of Mumui is in good order, otherwise if there is a big problem with the transport troops, I am afraid that they will not even have enough food and grass to return to the Land of Thunder. But even so, in order to solve the trap along the way, they also paid for the lives of 200 people. In the last border area, he directly encountered the leader of the shadow level of Tanakuni and the leader of the samurai, Mifune, leading 4,000 people to attack. If it weren't for the 2-tailed human pillar force and the awakened 3-generation Thunder Shadow to strike in time, their casualties would probably have rushed to 3,000 people, but even so, in this country of fire, they also lost nearly 2,000 people. Episode 73. After many days of arduous trekking, the 10,000 troops of the Land of Thunder finally returned to the country without danger. It was also this battle that made the Thunder country, which was originally a little self-inflated, understand that compared with the real ninja realm power, the fire country, they still have a long way to go. You must know that the news these days shows that Konoha is still orderly even in the face of the attacks of 3 countries at the same time. And these 3 countries, but 2 are the 5 major powers of the ninja realm. This kind of strength, compared with their kind of Thunder country who was pinched by 2 small countries and was a little exhausted, can be described as a high judgment. Of course, they will deal with such trouble, mainly because Thunder Shadow injured Yao and died, otherwise they would not dare to sneak attack if they lent the country of Iron and the country of Tian. Standing on the highest mountain in the Land of Thunder, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, who had recovered at this moment, led his henchman Mumui and his son to look in the direction of Konoha. Unexpectedly, Ye Chen alone stopped the footsteps of our Thunder country. The current 4th generation of Thunder Shadow has long lost its previous recklessness, and if you really continue to fight with Konoha at that time, I am afraid that the Land of Thunder will really die. Ye Chen's intelligence, even if their high level has tried their best to cover up, but once they return to the Land of Thunder, the news from all sides will come in, and the people under him will really understand what Ye Chen has done. This is also the reason why the 4th generation of Lei Ying is no longer arrogant. Compared with Ye Chen, his father seems to be really much worse. That's super shadow level strength. The entire country of Thunder, the realm that everyone dreams of. Mumui said with a look of fear at this time. Konoha really has a strong foundation. Not long after the Thousand Hands clan was destroyed, a monster with such talent can rise among the commoners, and I am afraid that the ninja world will be bloody again in the future. The 3rd generation of Lei Ying touched the empty hem of his left hand. His left hand has been broken, and his combat effectiveness may be greatly reduced in the future, and Ye Chen's age is still young, and his strength will probably become stronger and stronger in the future. AI, in the future, it will be the world of your young people. You already know the strength of this Ye Chen. Do you have the competence to protect the country of Thunder? The 3rd generation of Lei Ying himself had no chance to defeat Ye Chen, so naturally he could only pin his hopes on his son, but he also knew that his son was probably not Ye Chen's opponent. He just hoped that his son would not be enveloped by fear and lose his will to fight. Father, rest assured, even if Ye Chen is strong, I will not give up, and I will protect the country of Thunder in the future. Seeing that his son was still full of fighting spirit, the 3 generations of Lei Ying nodded in satisfaction, and then waved his hand to let his son leave. When the 4th generation of Lei Ying was completely gone, the 3rd generation of Lei Ying said, "Say, what is the plan next? I will definitely strictly follow your plan in the future." This time the escape from death made the 3 generations of Lei Ying understand that he really could not be arrogant anymore, and he must respect Mumui's resourcefulness. When Mumui saw his performance, a smile returned to his face. It seems that Ye Chen's existence is not without merit, at least when she talks to Lei Ying about strategy in the future, the other party will not take it as a deaf ear. The Great War has begun, although Konoha is still methodical in the face of the attack of the 3 kingdoms, but he can't pull out his hand in a short time to put pressure on the Land of Thunder. That Ye Chen also seems to have changed his nature, and he has only been stationed on the border recently. Hearing that Ye Chen did not attack the Land of Thunder, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow also breathed a sigh of relief, and now he was really afraid that Ye Chen would really hit the country of Thunder. Miss Dean has not yet acted, but I have already investigated. Their target should be the Land of Vortex, and our Land of Thunder is safe for the time being. When he heard Mumui say that the target of the fog was the Vortex country, the 3-point Thunder Shadow was also bright, and he had coveted the sealing technique of the Vortex country for a long time. However, in the past, the country of Vortex had Konoha by its side, but they did not intimidate them at all, and they did not dare to attack rashly because they were afraid of the strange sealing technique of the country of Vortex. But now the situation is different. Konoha himself is deeply mired, and he must not be able to take care of the country of the Whirlpool. Coupled with the foggy hidden to take the lead, this transaction is not impossible. Thinking of this, the 3rd generation of Lei Ying said, "How about joining forces with Miss Dean? The sealing technique of the Whirlpool clan is a good thing, and when the time comes, the strength of the human pillar force will probably be greatly improved." At this time, Mumu looked at Lei Ying accusingly, and then said, "If there is no attack on the Fire Nation this time, then we should have the spare power to make a move, and even take the initiative. Now, let's be honest and cultivate for a while, and there is also an 8-tailed wandering in the wild, you better find a way to recycle it first." Hearing the 8 tails in the wild, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows also had a headache. This bull ghost and his strength are indistinguishable, the 2 have fought many times, and each time is invincible. However, his strength is now declining. I am afraid that it will be difficult to recycle it, but he feels that his speed and physique have not changed, and as long as he adapts to the attack with one hand in the future, it is estimated that it will not be much worse. Yao will leave it to me, and I will take it after a few days off, and the other countries have not been able to recover Yaoi. But is there really no chance in the country of whirlpools? The sealing technique is really important to the Land of Thunder. Mumui saw that Lei Ying still couldn't let go of the Vortex clan sealing technique, and he also thought about it in his mind. Send a few high-end combat forces, others are responsible for responding, try to minimize the overall casualties, specific joint things, I will go to contact the fog. The 3rd generation of Lei Ying smiled slightly when he heard this, and then said, "Very good, take advantage of this time, I will go and have a good conversation with the cow ghost first." The country of Thunder itself suffered a big loss, and the entire ninja world also learned about the feat Ye Chen had done after a few days of fermentation. He single-handedly fought against the Jonin army of 10,000 people. That alone is enough to surprise everyone. Coupled with the ensuing battle of Lei Ying and 2 human pillar forces, and an elite Shaman who has been famous for many years, Ye Chen's momentum reached its peak for a while. The leaders of various countries, faintly, have already regarded Ye Chen as a figure like the original Hokage thousand-hand pillar. Although the strength of the shadow level is strong, it definitely can't do Ye Chen's like this, so Ye Chen's strength is probably the same as the strength of the thousand-hand pillar, the super shadow level. And Ye Chen's age to do this is only 19 years old, and it is not impossible for him to grow again in the future, and even reach the peak strength of the thousand-hand pillar. At this point, Konoha's Blue Lightning Shock Ninja World, many countries have strict orders for their subordinates, and if they encounter Ye Chen, then they can escape as soon as possible. Even if you abandon the task, you will not be punished. Episode 74. Near the northern border of Konoha, the 3,000 people led by Ye Chen have been stationed here for a month. But the old guy of the 3rd generation still means to let them go back to the village. It seems that he is still not dead, and he wants to wait for the country of Thunder to kill back, causing Ye Chen some trouble. However, Ye Chen had detected these days that Yunin's large army had returned to the Land of Thunder at the cost of nearly 2,000 people. Therefore, the calculation of the 3 generations is probably going to fail again, and he should transfer these 3,000 people back to the village next. And because they were afraid that these 3,000 loyal courtiers of Ye Chen would make meritorious achievements in the battle, they either sent them to death or let them defend in Konoha village. In this way, Ye Chen can be regarded as saying goodbye to his nanny task and saving the lives of these 3,000 people. Therefore, although the war was fierce during this time, Ye Chen did not leave much. Although he has the spatial ability of Shinwei and the fastest speed in the ninja world, if he really wants to rush to the Land of Rain, it is not a blink of an eye, and it will take 6 or 7 hours at the earliest. This is still his amazing speed, and it is impossible to replace it with ordinary people without a week. After all, they were northeast of Konoha, and the Land of Rain was northwest of Konoha, and this west-east gap spanned the entire Land of Fire. Putting away the intelligence scroll in his hand, Ye Chen had an intuitive understanding of the entire battle situation. Let's not talk about the matter of the Land of Thunder, he knows best. After the aggressive raid on Cheyenne's side for a while, he immediately turned his spearhead and directly killed Yuin village. Sure enough, no matter how impulsive they don't dare to really wrestle with Konoha, and in terms of comprehensive national strength, their Wind country is the weakest of the 5 major countries. After they arrived at Yuin village, they actually joined forces directly with Owain, and then together they began to attack Konoha through the geographical advantage of Yuin village. As soon as this battle started, the worst thing was the country of Rain. In this battle, countless villages and towns were destroyed, and the number of civilian casualties in just 1 month was close to 50,000. Many families were completely broken up because of this war, which also caused many displaced orphans. I think that Nagato Yahiko and Konan, these 3 geniuses of the future Rain country, will meet before long. And the intelligence of Wuyin village, just like the news that Ye Chen got from monitoring the ape-flying sun, really went to the country of Vortex. But this news leaked a little strangely. This kind of conspiracy attack, logically speaking, must be the top secret of a village, but Wuyin actually leaked it alive. This made many ninja villages that also coveted the country of Whirlpool begin to secretly contact with the Mist, seeing a powerful coalition army that destroyed the Whirlpool clan, but it was about to be established. This situation made the leakage of intelligence, which should have been a mistake, suddenly become a good thing. As soon as this situation came out, the entire Whirlpool tribe could not sit still, although their strength was good, and the average life expectancy was long, but they could not withstand the siege of so many countries. Counting their number of ninjas, that's less than 8,000. And there are a large number of old people and children who cannot go to the battlefield. In this case, it is difficult to face a fog alone, let alone the coalition army. When Ye Chen saw this information, he immediately thought of Uzumaki Mido, thinking that she had also obtained this information now, right? After all, this matter is already a secret that all the strong people in the ninja world know. The Uzumaki clan is about to perish when they see it, and as the princess of the former Uzumaki clan, Mido can't have no idea at all. And Ye Chen also knows that the 3 generations have planned very well this time. As long as Mido has any moves, he will directly attack, and what Mido will face at that time is not a pressure inside Konoha. However, since Ye Chen decided to obtain the approval of Uzumaki Mido, naturally he would not sit idly by and watch her family be destroyed, and then it would be a great opportunity to brush up on recognition. At this moment, the system also jumped out, adding a little reward to Ye Chen's decision. Ding! Given the current state of the host, the system gives 3 options. Option 1, rush to the aid of the Uzumaki clan, fight off all opponents, reward, 1 tail level chakra. Option 2, ignore the Vortex clan, let the Vortex clan be destroyed, reward, all the sealing techniques of the Vortex clan are proficient. Option 3, prevent the Uzumaki clan from collapse, and merge the Vortex country into Konoha. Reward, all Uzumaki clan goodwill plus 90. The system will judge which reward to give based on the host's behavior. Ye Chen, who had already decided to make a move, hurriedly looked at the options carefully at this time. Option 1 is just to rush to the aid of the Vortex clan to repel the opponent, but it is only to reward the chakra of the Shoha level, which is inevitably a little too spicy chicken, and the strength of Shoha is frankly the early or middle stage of the shadow level. It can be said that he is the weakest of the entire 9-tailed beast. Ye Chen now has the strength of the super shadow level. Where do you need this chakra? If he can complete it later, the previous option to defeat the 4 great shadows, then directly obtaining the bloodline between the 1,000-hand pillars, plus his body energy is so abundant, it is possible to directly obtain the super shadow level chakra. So option 1 was directly eliminated by Ye Chen. The reward of the second option is okay. The sealing technique of the Vortex clan definitely has its own uniqueness. Ye Chen just happens to be not very good at this, just the so-called skill is not pressing. If you can get this reward is definitely good. But if he wanted to watch the Uzumaki clan collapse, he still couldn't do it, whether it was out of the choice of the Uzumaki Mido or because of his love for the Uzumaki clan. Ye Chen did not want this family to collapse. There are not many characters in the original work of the Uzumaki clan, but each of them is very charming. Coupled with the fate of early destruction, I believe many people have felt sorry. Excluding the second option, Ye Chen saw the third option, and it really won his heart. Not only to prevent the collapse of the Vortex clan, but also to let the Vortex country join Konoha. This is Ye Chen's plan for a long time. Before, he just wanted to take advantage of this time to destroy the country and save the Vortex clan himself. I am afraid that the probability of success will not be too low. And once the Uzumaki clan joins Konoha, Ye Chen's political capital will increase again. After all, Uzumaki Mido is a person on his side, and the Uzumaki clan has entered Konoha. and will definitely follow Mito, the former princess. It is equivalent to Ye Chen all of a sudden, adding the entire Vortex clan as his core strength. And now that he has rewarded all the clansmen with 90 favors, Ye Chen is even more satisfied with this option. Not to mention others, Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Jioshinai must be counted among the Uzumaki clan, plus 90 good feeling Ye Chen if he guessed correctly. I'm afraid he will go directly to the top. And with 90 good feelings, he will not have to be afraid of the evil intentions of the Vortex clan in the future, and this family will become his most loyal subordinate. Episode 75. After all, even if the Uzumaki clan really joins Konoha, this clan has not welcomed Konoha for a long time, and the gap between Konoha ninjas and them will be derived sooner or later, similar to the incident of Uchiha's rebellion. If Ye Chen didn't handle it well by then, even if this Whirlpool clan hadn't been extinct because of this crisis, it would sooner or later disappear in the struggle of the village. But with this favorability, at least this generation of Vortex clan people will not easily betray Ye Chen. As for the next generation, Ye Chen believes that he has mastered the advanced education methods of the 21st century, and naturally he is not afraid of the Uzumaki clan in the future, and he will not have a sense of belonging to Konoha. And since Ye Chen wants to let Konoha unify the ninja world, then the Uzumaki clan is a good start, with the Uzumaki clan as an example. After he conquers other countries in the future, the rebellion may be much less. With this plan, Ye Chen had already decided that this time he had to make a move to keep the Vortex clan. But the only thing that made him feel a little relieved was the 3,000 strong troops in front of him. This is the border, maybe there will be problems at any time. And his proposal for 3 generations, I am afraid that the old guy will not accept it. After all, the two are still political enemies. However, what surprised Ye Chen was that not long after the new option popped out, the sound of the system sounded again. Ding, detected to lead 3,000 civilian ninjas into battle, and 0 people died in battle. The option has been completed. Reward the complete bloodline of Uchiha Madara, please check. Originally, he was still worried, but Ye Chen was overjoyed when he heard this prompt. It seems that the system has determined that these 3,000 people should have been out of danger of death, which means that even if Ye Chen is no longer next to protect them in the future, they will not die in World War II. Thinking about it, Jonin has already withdrawn his troops. Does Tianjigua dare to take the initiative to attack? You know, when Tianjigua was blocking Jonin, many ninjas were killed, and now they are probably busy licking their wounds. Ye Chen got this bloodline, and naturally couldn't wait to open the system backpack. The bloodline of Uchiha Madara will obtain the same bloodline as Uchiha Madara after use, whether it is bloodstains, chakra, or talent, it is the same as Uchiha Mama. Seeing this reward, Ye Chen knew that the opportunity for him to become a 6th level was here. With the bloodline of Uchiha, coupled with the interpillar bloodline that may reach his hand later, he is extremely the 2 strongest bloodlines of the Hokage, and as long as he cultivates diligently, the 6 levels are appropriate. Even he can reach the 6th level without becoming a 10-tailed human pillar force. Just by obtaining a little cell between the columns, the elephant spot has awakened the eye of reincarnation and reached the level of atavism. Ye Chen may perfectly fuse the 2 bloodlines, and the richness of the bloodline is probably going to chase the 6 immortals. Use, Uchiha's bloodline. Xinhuang sensed that no one was close around his tent, and Ye Chen didn't think much about it, and directly used this bloodline. Uchiha's bloodline has been successfully used and is being transmitted. The next moment, Ye Chen felt that severe pain began to appear in his body, as if his blood had been drained and replaced in an instant. Fortunately, this feeling came and went quickly, but in just a few minutes, Ye Chen returned to normal. After the pain disappeared, Ye Chen immediately came to the mirror, and at this glance, he found that his skin seemed to be slightly whiter. I think it is also the Peugeot of the Uchiha family. After all, the Uchiha family often produces handsome guys, and the little white faces with fine skin and tender flesh are endless. However, Ye Chen immediately thought that if he was changed to a bloodline, he would not lose the ability of the thunder fruit, right? Thinking of this, he hurriedly raised his right hand, and with a bang, his right hand suddenly turned into dark blue lightning. Fortunately, the thunder fruit is still there. Not only did the thunder fruit not disappear, Ye Chen even felt that his thunder fruit's ability had improved again, and he was now 1 step closer to the awakening stage, and he was really only 1 foot away. And the bloodline of Uchiha didn't stop there. Ye Chen's eyes suddenly rotated and turned into the Sharingan eye of Sangu Jade. Sanguyu's riding wheel eye was originally opened through battle, and Ye Chen's strength has reached the super shadow, so awakening Sanguyu is basically a matter of course. But the kaleidoscope after that, it may be a little troublesome. After all, he has no relatives, he can't kill his wife in order to open his eyes, right? Fortunately, there is a system, and Ye Chen believes that there should be a chance to get a kaleidoscope riding wheel eye in the future. And Uchiha Ba itself is also very strong in physical skills, and in the 4th Ninja World War, he once relied on fighting a 10,000-person army alone, which shows that the top bloodline of the Uchiha family has a strong talent for physical skills. Ye Chen also noticed this benefit for the first time, and his previous physical training to the end was estimated to be the peak of super shadow. But now he felt that if he didn't do anything and just worked hard to exercise his physical skills, he might be able to reach the 6th level. Winning this top reward, Ye Chen was even more confident in the next war. Now if he is allowed to face Lei Ying and 2 human pillar forces once, he can definitely face it calmly. The strength has increased greatly, and the option reward has arrived, and Ye Chen does not plan to continue to stay in the north. However, he also didn't want his people to stay at the border, so he planned to take these people back to Konoha first. As for the order of 3 generations, he doesn't care whether he disobeys or not, his strength has increased greatly, even if the 3 generations fight with him this time, he doesn't mind making a direct move. And he rushed back to Konoha. In addition to placing his own people, there was another important purpose, that is, Uzumaki Mito was about to encounter a crisis. If he remembers correctly, the arrangement of the 3 generations for Mito may have been in the recent period. Although Mito may not necessarily die, I am afraid that the strength will be greatly reduced, and even the chakra who has lost the Yin seal is possible because of this, so Ye Chen has to go back anyway. Although the entire ninja world fell into the Second War, and the countries involved also included the 5 major powers, Konoha village was peaceful. After all, it was the first ninja village in the ninja world. So even if the fight outside is hot, it will basically not be greatly affected here, and the villagers are a little uneasy at most, but compared with the people of other countries, the precariousness is still a lot better. At this moment, in the Hokage's office, Sarutobi was chatting with a young man. The daimyo will be served by you in the future, remember not to show flaws. The matter of the ape-flying clan monopolizing power in a short period of time is not suitable for the people to know. The young man was extremely obedient to the order of the slash, and nodded heavily. Got it, father. This person is the eldest son of ape-flying Sunchop, an 18-year-old elite shinobu this year, ape-flying Masao. Episode 76. Ape-flying Sun Chopper heard his son's affirmative answer, and a satisfied look appeared on his face. Go down, remember to hand over the duties, and arrange for Mizudamonian first. He is still loyal to the ape-flying clan, and he can use it. Sarutobi nodded again, and then said, yes. Sarutobi Masao's position does not seem to be very important in Konoha as a whole, because military power is not involved. However, he is Konoha's advisor, which means that his status is actually second only to Hokage, and he even has the right to directly mobilize troops across the borders of the Fire Nation. And if there is a crisis situation, or if Hokage is unable to give orders, as an advisor, he can also directly take over the power to manage the entire Konoha. Ape-flying Sun cut this position, to a foreigner, naturally has his own considerations. Mizudamonida's family is only a small clan, so there is almost no capital for a coup, coupled with his own coercion since childhood. Mizudamonidas is simply his dogleg. Now he is even more a rare confidant, since his own son is going to become a daimyo. This position is no problem for Mizudamonidas to be given. Next, he also plans to promote another advisor, so that if the 2 advisors check and balance each other, plus the regimental reserve with military power, it can be guaranteed that no one under his hand can be alone, but he, the Hokage, can be reconciled and achieve true imperial power eternity. As for the candidate for another advisor, he is also already chosen. It is Xiaochun, who is in the same period as him. This woman is just a commoner, and she has been begging the ape-flying tribe on weekdays. As long as she gives this position, this woman naturally does her best to work for the ape-flying family. Seeing that he was about to hold the entire Konoha firmly in his hands, there was also a smile on the face of the ape-flying son. After seeing off his son, Sarutobi slowly opened the drawer of his office and took out a photo. The person inside is his deceased father, who was also Sarutobi Sasuke, who used to be in the Megatron ninja realm. Because of Sarutobi Sasuke's previous daimyo's identity, Hinata did not dare to disclose it to the public, how he died, and even a martyr-sized funeral could not be given. It can only be claimed that Sarutobi Sasuke died naturally of old age and physical decline. Piteous Sarutobi Sasuke, who racked his brains for the sake of Konoha and the Sarutobi clan, and when it came time to die, he didn't even get a martyr's funeral. Looking at the black and white photo of his father, Ape Fei Rechop's expression was first faintly sad, and then he put down the photo and looked at the sky in the distance, murmuring in a very small voice, "Thank you, father. If it weren't for your death, I'm afraid I wouldn't have mastered the entire fire country so quickly." Originally, this was said very quietly, so Ape Fei Rechopper was not afraid that someone would know that he was actually a white-eyed wolf with little affection. But Ye Chen, who was about to knock on the door of Hokage's office, heard this sentence, through the heart net. For a time, his senses for the ape-flying sun / completely dropped to the freezing point. This old thing actually did not grieve for the death of ape-flying Sasuke, but rejoiced here? If he was still thinking about it, if he really became Hokage, whether he wanted to leave a descendant for Sarutobi Hinata, this would also be the right contribution of Sarutobi Sasuke to Konoha. But now it seems that it is better to forget it. The heirs of such people What kind of garbage in the future is not certain. Think about asthma in the original work, it is a proper style of the second generation of officials, and it is even more classic to be pregnant out of wedlock, so Ye Chen also put away this thought, thinking that in the future, the ape flying family, or completely disappear from the ninja world. Pushing open the door, Ape Fei Ri saw Ye Chen suddenly come in, and was suddenly startled, and then remembered his previous words, and suddenly he was a little afraid. I don't know if Ye Chen heard it? But even if you hear it, it doesn't matter if the current ape flying sun slash, because the two are completely in trouble, and there is no chance of remission. As soon as Ye Chen came in, he didn't have any good face, and said directly, my mission has been completed, after that, I will move freely first, as for my 3,000 people, stay in Konoha and garrison. Ape Fei Ri looked at Ye Chen's appearance without a boss, and suddenly he was angry, but he didn't dare to attack. The strength that Ye Chen is showing now is already a proper super shadow level, and he didn't kill him only to take care of the fishing boat, otherwise he would be killed in seconds. Thinking of the power he had just arrived, as well as the next arrangement, Ape Flying Sun Slash could be regarded as relieved and did not attack. In that case, the war in the Land of Rain is quite tense, it is better to. He was only halfway through his words, but Ye Chen was already gone, and it seemed that he didn't plan to listen to him anymore. Seeing this scene, Ape Flying Sun Chopper couldn't bear it anymore, and directly slammed a punch on the desk. Boom! He was a strong man in the middle of the shadow level, and his physical skills were the top of the ape flying clan, and the table under one punch suddenly turned into crumbs. Even the photo of Sarutobi Sasuke in the table that he had just put down was completely shattered under this punch. Looking at the closed door, the ape flying at this moment said with a fierce face, wait, in a few days, I will make you disappear in the ninja world forever. He didn't want to attack now, just because everything had been planned, and when his plan was successfully implemented, he wouldn't be afraid of any super shadow level Ye Chen at that time. Back then, even if it was a super shadow level 1,000 hands, he didn't die under the calculation of ape flying. After bidding farewell to the ape flying sun, Ye Chen did not go to see Mito next, because during this time, she was still very safe, and she had returned to Konoha. Mito must have known, if you want to see him, you will naturally call someone to pass on the message. Ye Chen can't waste time, he has just obtained the bloodline of Uchiha, he has to adapt well, especially the Sharingan, his insight will be greatly improved, and his reaction speed will also increase at that time. With that lightning speed, his attack frequency may increase a lot in the future. Moreover, Uchiha's bloodline cultivation technique will definitely be faster, and he will naturally have to try it well. Don't see that he already has the strength of the super shadow, but the existence of the great ape immortal has always been a thorn in Ye Chen's heart. Even he, who has read the original work, is extremely jealous of the three holy places. How to say that the immortals of the three holy places are all existences who have lived for thousands of years. The ape immortals who did not pass by in the original work all have the strength of super shadows, but what about the immortals of the three holy lands? They are a generation away from the 6 Tao immortals, and they are also the peak of strength among the ninja beasts, and 9 times out of 10, they are even a notch stronger than this ape immortal. Episode 77. Ye Chen naturally did not forget the scourge of the extermination of the Whirlpool clan, but this time against the extermination of the Whirlpool clan, several countries were united, so it took a lot of time for the troops to assemble. And at that time, the Uzumaki clan will also take the initiative to ask Konoha for help, and he will definitely receive intelligence at that time. So there is no need to go ahead of time. Even if he passes ahead of time now, the other people's Vortex clan may not have reached the point of extinction, then it must still be the same tough attitude as before, and whether he is willing to look at Ye Chen more or not, it may not be certain. What else to talk about joining Konoha? When the Uzumaki clan was invited to join Konoha, it was the god of the ninja world, Senju Pillar, and at that time, Uzumaki also married the princess of the Uzumaki clan, but those proud Uzumaki clan people were still unwilling to join Konoha. It can be seen that the arrogance in their hearts is actually no less than that of the Uchiha family. Therefore, in the face of these arrogant Whirlpool people, they must first let them suffer, and when their arrogance is almost gone, Ye Chen is helping them, which is the best way. Back home, Ye Chen happened to see that today's Xiao Jing looked like he had lost his soul, and he didn't even have the spirit to train. The maid beside him said, Lord Shizun, don't worry, Lord Ye Chen is a big hero in Konoha, this war will definitely not be a problem, Shizun said in a low voice. Uncle Kato at that time also said that he would never have a problem, but seeing that Xiao Shizun was so precocious, he actually remembered Kato's break, and the maids didn't know how to be good for a while. Ye Chen just arrived at the door of the house, and also discovered this scene, and then carefully glanced at Shizun. Today's Shizun changed into the rustic black kimono of the past, changed into a white rabbit ear hoodie customized by Ye Chen, and a pair of pants that were convenient for sports. Coupled with her already delicate facial features, it made Ye Chen cute. Ye Chen also understood at this time that he had snubbed this little girl a little, and even people cared so much about him, he didn't notice it, and hurriedly went over and hugged Shizun. Shizun was picked up by Ye Chen and put on his shoulder, and then Ye Chen pinched her fleshy face and said, "Xiao Shizun, is it good that brother Ye Chen accompanies you to cultivate today?" Ye Chen and Shizun's title is not called father and daughter like ordinary adopters. After all, Ye Chen thinks that he is still very young, and it is too old-fashioned to be a father at the age of 19, so he stands cheap and lets Shizun call his brother. Shizun seemed to have an inexplicable closeness to Ye Chen, and seeing Ye Chen come back was a great joy, and he didn't dislike his action of pinching his face, but said happily, "Yay! I like to practice with brother Ye Chen the most. Today I want to triple the amount of training." Ye Chen has been cultivating by himself these days, so he rarely takes care of this girl, although some maids accompany her, but it is quite lonely to think about it. In addition, she no longer has any relatives, so it is inevitable to regard Ye Chen, the person who brought her out of the spy department, as the closest person. Although Ye Chen was very kind on weekdays, once he started cultivating, he was still quite strict. In the face of Ye Chen's arrangement, Muzun did not have any discomfort, but completed it very seriously. At the beginning, she didn't train, which already made her who had not exercised much breathless. Although Ye Chen felt sorry for the little girl, he knew that the mute conditions were poor, and if he did not exercise from a young age, it would be difficult to improve in the future. Although with Ye Chen here, this girl does not have to train so hard, but Xiaomu is afraid that training is the only time to get along with Ye Chen, so I hope to make the training time longer. Ye Chen faintly sensed a hint of meaning, so today he did not do his own training, and concentrated on mute. No matter how he said that he also adopted this girl, he couldn't completely ignore it. The maids on the side rarely saw Ye Chen like this. In the past, they did not necessarily see Ye Chen for a week, but now they actually sacrificed a day of cultivation time and concentrated on accompanying Shizun. It can be seen that this man is still very loving. They also got along with Shizun for a while, naturally feeling sorry for this cute girl, but knowing the hard work of ninjas, they didn't dare to mention anything, they could only silently care about Shizun. Ye Chen accompanied Shizun to cultivate until the setting sun, but seeing that this girl was exhausted and refused to rest, Ye Chen hugged her and said, "Silly girl, there will be opportunities to cultivate in the future, next time as long as you want, you can find your brother at any time." Muzun's eyes lit up when she heard it, and with her cute face, she was even more cute. "Really, I want to practice with my brother every day." Ye Chen smiled, "Haha, when my brother finishes dealing with the war, he will accompany you every day. If Ye Chen finishes dealing with World War II, he is only one step away from Hokage, and then he may have to stay in Konoha every day to deal with government affairs. However, there should still be time to accompany this little girl every day." When Shizun heard this, he waved his hand. "No, my brother is a big hero and very busy, well, just accompany me once a week." Ye Chen saw that the little girl was so understanding, and couldn't help but glance at the few maids next to him and nodded with satisfaction. His own affairs must have been said by these maids. It seems that Ye Chen is in a great process of majesty on the front line, and now I am afraid that he is already a household name in Konoha. After taking a sip on Shizun's face, Ye Chen said, "Go, take you out for a big meal today. What does Shizun want to eat?" When Shizun heard this question, he also thought about it seriously, and then suddenly said with a bright eye, "I'm going to eat a charaka ramen." Sister Kyokai said that the ramen there is the best in Konoha. Ye Chen was also interested when he heard it. It seems that this ramen shop with many pictures in the original book has quietly opened during the war. Then it's decided, go to a charaka ramen. At night, Ye Chen took the silent little hand and slowly walked back to the courtyard of the Thousand Hands clan. The previous Charaka ramen, he also praised it after eating it. It is worthy of the ramen shop that has influenced generations in the original book, and it really has something. And the owner of the ramen shop is still only a teenager, so in fact, he has not reached the peak of his craft, and I think that in the future, he will make more delicious noodles. As for the Naruto fans have been circulating, this uncle is actually Dadama Yile. Ye Chen is also excluded. This kid has no chakra at all, and it can't be a Dadama family at all. Ye Chen suddenly asked to Shizun at this time, "Shizun, do you have any dreams?" He didn't ask this temporarily, but really wanted to help her fulfill her dream according to Mion's preferences, and the days getting along has made Ye Chen really treat the little girl as a family. Shizun thought about it and said categorically, "I want to be a hero like my brother." In April of Konoha's 29th year, 3 months had passed since the start of the Second Shinobi War. Located on the Sea of the Ninja World, directly south of the country of whirlpools, a country of bears that is also built on a small island, there are very few ninjas in the country, and because of the dense forests everywhere and the dangerous Helitodani Valley full of poisonous gas, it can effectively prevent the invasion of foreign enemies. The border is surrounded by gas-filled canyons. So although there are few ninjas, they are rarely invaded. However, at this moment, on the shores of the country of bears, there are countless outsiders, wearing the guards of different villages, and although there are occasional quarrels between them, there is no big war, as if there is some common interest that drives them to control their temper. If anyone can look at it from the sky, they can see that there are less than 20,000 ninjas here. That camp is even more endless, and it is spectacular. At this moment, the Chinese army camp is even more lively, and everyone sitting here is the strongest in their respective countries, and the weakest is the elite Shangnan. There are 5 shadow-level powerhouses alone, and the 2 of them sitting in the first place are the long-haired man wearing a foggy forehead. This person always has his eyes closed, as if his eyes are disabled. This person is the 3rd generation of Eyewater Shadow. Also the initiator of this coalition. The one who is qualified to sit with him is none other than the Thunder Shadow of the Land of Thunder. After several months of time, the 3 generations of May Thunder Kage finally recovered Yao from scratch, and now they have come to the country of bears again in their spare time. For the sealing technique of that vortex country. He who once again sealed the 8 tails, urgently needed the sealing technique of the Whirlpool clan, otherwise the human pillar power under his hand did not know when he would storm away. Only the sealing technique of the Vortex clan can completely avoid this problem, and even make the pillar force completely tail the beast, but it is still intact. And the strength of the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow has also returned to the peak level of the Shadow level from a new time in the adaptation of this time, even if it is the Water Shadow next to him. When it comes to personal strength, it is weaker than him. In addition to the 2 shadow levels, there were also leaders of Yuno Kuni, leaders of the Land of Craftsmen, and leaders of Kawa no Kuni. These 3 shadow levels. The rest are leaders of small countries, and their strength is mostly at the level of elite tolerance. Seeing that the person was almost coming, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadows who were not hot-tempered directly spoke. When everyone arrives, go to war. This time, we must destroy the arrogant Whirlpool family. Everyone was also excited when they heard this, thinking that they had coveted the sealing technique of the Vortex clan for a long time, and the consistent style of the Vortex clan. I am afraid that they had already complained. At this time, Na Shuang also stood up and said in a low tone, if the Vortex country is destroyed, how will the resources be distributed? As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions became solemn, and any country present came for the sealing technique. But the sealing technique is just that, and if you take it, you won't have it. Even some countries that did not intend to use the sealing technique in the first place, but only had the opportunity to grab some of the Vortex clan to go back and cultivate future generations. Shuang proposed that the resource allocation was also looking forward to it. To say that the talent of the Whirlpool tribe is really strong, if each country can catch some women to go back, the offspring born at that time can definitely help their country become strong. So don't look at whether this time is going to the sealing technique, or the mind of some small countries. In fact, the drunk does not mean to drink. After all, although the sealing technique is good, it is not something that everyone can master, but if you rob a woman and go back, the child must be a person from their country, and no matter how bad the talent of the Uzumaki tribe is, it must be stronger than some ninjas of small countries without blood stains. Liang just wanted to speak at this time, but Mumui next to him held him down. Just kidding, this Liang has such a short temper. If he can't say that the sealing technique is his, he will not directly become the target of everyone at that time. Liang originally wanted to have a seizure, but remembered that he had said that he would listen to Mumui's advice in the future, so he could only sit back with a sullen head. The 3 generations of Water Shadow saw everyone, looked at him, and then smiled slightly. Since everyone has a contribution, then the resources are evenly distributed. Every family has the same for each family. As for robbing people, then you can bring back as much as you want. Hearing this distribution method, the originally tense atmosphere suddenly eased a lot. It's the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow, his simple brain. I'm afraid I can't understand why he did this. Obviously the country of Thunder and the country of Water are the 5 major powers of the ninja world. Why share resources with this group of small countries? Instead, Mumui saw Shui Ying's thoughts. The other resources of the Vortex clan, it is not meaningful to grab more. It is better to divide the province's internal strife equally, but the key trophy of the sealing technique, the Water Shadow, has not yet been distributed. Shuang continued to speak at this time. As for the sealing technique, we can make a few more copies, and we can make 1 copy for each person. Hearing this, everyone present was excited, thinking that they were extremely satisfied. If he could, Shuang wouldn't want to divide such a valuable resource as the sealing technique equally, but in the face of the Vortex clan, he must first enlist these temporary allies. Otherwise, he would not have deliberately leaked the news of the attack on the Vortex country. Don't look at the ape flying sun slash to provide him with the armament of the Vortex country, but the strength of the Vortex clan is there. It is also a defender who is waiting for work, and if he rashly attacks, even if the country of Water is one of the 5 major powers, it will not take advantage, so it is necessary to attract allies to attack together. Now that the fight has not started, he can divide the resources into a higher promise. When the time comes, it will really start. Which country has a lot of strength decay? Can it go back alive? And ask Shuang if he agrees. As for the promised distribution of resources, only the living can get it. Seeing that everyone had no opinion, Shueying said, then fight according to the previously arranged plan and launch an attack early tomorrow morning. As an island country, the land area of the country of whirlpools is actually inferior to the small country of the country of bears. However, this island is rich in products, so it is enough for a country to be self-sufficient. Coupled with the beautiful environment and beautiful scenery, it is indeed a good place to retire. It's just that no one in the current Vortex tribe can laugh. This siege is no joke. According to the intelligence of the spies, it is close to 20,000 people. In the council hall of the Vortex clan, there was also a discussion about this battle. Patriarch, how is it now? With a coalition army of more than 20,000 people, there are 5 light and shadow levels, and the strength of our family may not be able to stop it. Hearing this person speak, the current patriarch of the Vortex clan, an old man over 60 years old, Vortex Water Mirror said, "What about Konoha? Didn't you already send someone to ask for help before?" Failu reminds you, 3 things to read, collect, push. Episode 79. The origin of this Whirlpool Water Mirror is not small. He is the younger brother of the princess of the Whirlpool clan, Uzumaki Mito, so the bloodline is also the whole family, only Mito is rich. It's just that now he has red hair that has turned gray, which shows that his vitality has basically been exhausted, and his strength is estimated to be not much left. Compared with Mito, his strength is a little inadequate, and the chakra in one body is just the middle of the shadow level. Hearing the patriarch's question, someone immediately answered. Konoha's side has already replied, saying that Konoha's solo fighting 3 kingdoms has been overwhelmed, and there is no extra force to support. The ape flying sun chop gave us up. Hearing this, the Whirlpool Water Mirror's eyebrows were almost raised, and he drank loudly in his mouth. Ape flying sun chopped an old mongrel. Obviously there are still 9 tails that have not been used, actually said that there is no extra power. Without our Uzumaki clan, could they Konoha master the 9 tails? It seems that the temper of the Whirlpool Water Mirror is not small, and he actually directly scolded. Then the Whirlpool Water Mirror said again, "What about my sister? Was she contacted?" Hearing the question of the Water Mirror, someone below replied, "Mito-sama can't be contacted at all. I heard that he has been completely imprisoned." Hearing this Whirlpool Water Mirror, his right hand smashed, and it directly split the table in the hall into pieces. Ape flying sun beheading this beast, even his own master and wife have to abuse? But when they got here, the people below were already in chaos. What the hell should the patriarch do, seeing that those coalition forces are about to attack? What are you afraid of? The Vortex clan is a descendant of the 6 Tao Immortals, we can definitely defeat them. With our sealing technique, even if they are strong in ninjutsu, it is useless, the patriarch ordered. Let's fight. Patriarch, I heard that Princess Tsunade's husband has good strength, and it seems that he is a political enemy with Sarutobi Hinata, so why not ask for help like him? People are people from Konoha, no matter how they move internally, will they still come to support our Vortex country? Enough. Suddenly, the Whirlpool Water Mirror drank loudly, stopping the noise of everyone present. Hearing the patriarch's words, everyone immediately fell silent, waiting for the patriarch to issue an order. Since there are no reinforcements, we will fight ourselves. Even if we die, we must stand and die, so that the world knows the strength of the Whirlpool clan. The words of the Whirlpool Water Mirror were impassioned, and the morale of his subordinates was ignited at once. Subsequently, he also arranged the task of defense in an orderly manner, but when everyone left, he sat quietly in his seat, his expression indescribably lonely. What he said before sounded good, but he himself understood that in the face of the combined army of 5 shadow level and 20,000 ninjas, even if their Whirlpool clan exerted their strength, they would not have any chance of victory. The shadow level of their clan counts him as 2, and although there are 8 more shinobi, the middle level combat power is too poor, and the ninjas who can fight in the entire Vortex country together are 5,000. Such a gap in strength, there is no sealing technique at all, and a little bloodline suppression can be reversed. If his sister can support it, then the strength of the super shadow level, maybe there is still a little chance. Unfortunately, the current Uzumaki Mito has completely cut off the connection with the Uzumaki clan, and even her life and death, the Uzumaki clan has no way of knowing. In fact, it is also to blame Uzumaki Water Mirror, because Mito has been helping Konoha back then. He deliberately snubbed his sister and did not allow the Uzumaki clan to visit relatives for many years. The relationship between the 2 sides has become a little estranged, and now that there is a crisis on his side, he will go to her. I am afraid that even if she is not imprisoned, she will not necessarily help, right? Thinking of this Whirlpool Water Mirror, he muttered, maybe my sister is right. Back then, I should have brought the Uzumaki clan to join Konoha. It is useless to think about this today. I am afraid that he is willing to bring someone to Konoha now, and Konoha may not be willing to accept it. After all, as long as Konoha quietly watches them being destroyed, and comes to accept some war orphans afterwards, he can also have a certain bloodline of the Vortex clan. As for sealing? Uzumaki Water Mirror does not believe that Konoha did not have Ape Flying Sun Chopper, did not intervene in this coalition army, and after the war, Ape Flying Sun Chopper will inevitably get a piece of the pie. Suddenly, the Whirlpool Water Mirror remembered that someone seemed to have mentioned a person named Ye Chen before. After carefully recalling, he remembered that it was his sister's grandson-in-law and a rising star in today's ninja world. Some people even compared Ye Chen with the ninja realm Majuri Yuzebo spot back then. If Ye Chen came to support, maybe there was still a certain chance. Thinking of this swirling water mirror's right-hand move, a black shadow appeared behind him. Go to Konoha to find Ye Chen, see if he is willing to support, and bring Jonin with you. This is the nine-tailed man pillar force that my sister fancy, just take it as our thank you gift. When the black shadow heard this, he nodded his head without hesitation, and then disappeared behind the Whirlpool Water Mirror. Looking at the sky outside the window, the Whirlpool Water Mirror murmured, I hope this Ye Chen is someone worth entrusting. In the patriarch's mansion in the center of Whirlpool Village, an old woman over 60 years old is holding a 4-year-old girl, quietly enjoying the moonlight, and the quiet and peaceful atmosphere at this moment makes people almost forget the predicament that the Whirlpool clan is about to face. Suddenly the little girl asked, Grandma, what is Konoha like, which is a little bigger than the Uzumaki village? The old lady smiled slightly and answered seriously. Konoha is the largest village in the ninja world, it must be bigger than the Uzumaki village. I also went there once many years ago, and now I think it must be more prosperous. Saying that, the old lady showed a look of reminiscence. The little girl pouted at this time and said unhappily, I don't want to go, I'm going to follow Grandma. I just love Whirlpool Village. Patting the girl's head, the old lady said, Jonin, Grandma will be separated from you sooner or later, it is better for you to go to Konoha, remember to live happily over there. Find Grandma Mito for anything, she will take care of you. It turned out that this little girl was Uzumaki Jonin, and she wanted to come and prepare to leave her hometown, so she was naturally very reluctant to her relatives and hometown. But at a young age, she has already felt the abnormality in the village, and everyone's expressions are so nervous, it seems that she is going to experience a cruel war. Originally, she had a good temper, but this time she didn't talk back to her grandmother, but just said obediently, I know, Grandma will also live 100 years old. I will come back to see you often in the future. The old lady smiled hee, and was about to say something, when a man dressed in black appeared in front of her, which was the dark part of Whirlpool Village. Sir, it's time for Miss Jonin to go. Hearing this, the old lady's eyes began to moisten, and then he forcibly reluctantly pushed Jonin to the hand of the comer. Go, remember to live well. After saying the last sentence, the old lady entered the room without looking back. Episode 80. In an underground cave, a humanoid creature covered in miserable white was reporting something to an old man sitting on a stone throne. This war is really amazing, even worse than the first battle you provoked. Konoha's casualties now have 3,000. Continue to fight. Konoha is about to decline. Madara, don't you feel heartache at all? That's the village you and the pillars built. It turned out that the person who was returning was Baiju, and the old man in front of him, although he already had white hair, the conspicuous hedgehog head was still there, plus the silhouette on that face, it was the Uchiha who had been in the Megatron ninja realm. Hearing Baiju's somewhat mocking words, Uchiha said calmly, this is the result of Konoha's darkness, I already knew it, so why should my heart ache? Baiju looked at his words, and he couldn't let Madara have any mood swings, and he suddenly felt a little bored. Its character jumps, it is the white one who grew up with Uchiha with the soil later, so he always likes to tease Uchiha spots, but unfortunately Uchiha spots are calm, and have seen too many big worlds, how can it be easy to produce mood swings? Uchiha said that he was not heartbroken, but then muttered, did you see it? Your path is wrong, and this will eventually become the opportunity for Konoha's destruction. Only my Moon Eye project can truly eliminate barriers and create a peaceful ninja realm. Madara said a little to himself, but Baiju had to listen to Uchiha Madara shouting every day, and his ears were about to be ground out of the cocoon, so he had already ignored this sentence. Suddenly, he thought of an interesting person and hurriedly said, you've always regarded Senjakuma as an old enemy, but did you know that a young man from the ninja world recently came out and was called the next ninja world Shura? When Uchiha heard this, he immediately said with disdain, have they seen my peak? It's just a group of ants entertaining themselves, I am different from their realm. Although Madara's words were very disdainful, he still found that Madara had more words than usual, and even had emotional fluctuations, which achieved his goal. Then he hurriedly continued, that's not necessarily that young man named Ye Chen, but I've seen his shot, facing 3 shadow levels, he crippled the 3 generations of thunder shadows at the peak of the shadow level, and also killed the 8-tailed pillar force and forced back the second tail. Hearing this, sure enough, Banda's attitude changed, and his eyebrows raised slightly. 3 shadow levels for him at the peak, it is not an ant that can be crushed with his hands, but it is indeed rare that there are still people in the ninja world who can do this today, because to be able to do this, at least in the early stage of Super Shadow. But he knew that the kid in the Senju was dead, and it stands to reason that there should be no Super Shadow powerhouse in the ninja world. But although the heart has been produced, The angry Madara still said with disdain. At most, it's just the early stage of Super Shadow, and occasionally it will still come out, but it's too much worse than me. Hearing Uchiha Dan speak by himself, Ichiraku knew that his purpose had been achieved, and then continued to praise Ye Chen. That's not necessarily, that son is only 19 years old this year. How old did you reach Super Shadow back then? I remember it seems to be not small. Hearing that Ye Chen actually reached the Super Shadow at the age of 19, Madara's expression suddenly changed. If a middle-aged person reached the Super Shadow, it would be understandable, but he reached the Super Shadow at such a young age. In the future, maybe there will really be a chance to touch the threshold of the peak of Super Shadow. But if he is really older, he seems to have reached the Super Shadow at the age of 18 or 19, and he had just reached the Super Shadow when he just had an ordinary kaleidoscope riding wheel eye. Later, after the glasses were transplanted after the death of his brother, he reached the middle stage of ultravision. Carefully calculated, Ye Chen reached the age of Chaoying, and he was actually indistinguishable from him. Hearing Baiju's words, Banny didn't believe it for the first time and then said, "Which family is that kid, Thousand Hands orphan? Uchiha side branch? Or Hinata descendants? Could it be a close relative of the Uzumaki clan?" As the person closest to the historical truth of the ninja, Uchiha naturally understood that if he wanted to reach the Super Shadow level, he must be a direct descendant or side branch of the 6 Tao Immortals, otherwise there was almost no possibility. It was also because of this that he asked Ye Chen what kind of family he was for the first time. Senju and Uchiha naturally needless to say, they must be the most direct bloodlines of the 6 Tao Immortals, Hinata and the Uzumaki clan, which he knows, and the bloodlines that have a little relationship with the 6 Tao Immortals, so it is also possible to reach the Super Shadow level. For example, the executor of the Moon Eye plan he chose is not the bloodline of the Vortex clan. The little boy's qualifications are really good, even if he does not have the reincarnation eye of Uchiha, he can reach the peak of the Shadow level at the most, and cultivation to middle age may be able to reach the early stage of Super Shadow. Hearing Banny's question, Baiju said profoundly, "Neither." Seeing that Baiju was still selling guanzi with himself, Banny's violent temper rose, and then said coldly, "If you want to die, continue to sell guanzi." Hearing Madara's threatening words, this Baiju finally did not dare to scream. His life was given by Madara and it was a matter of blinking an eye to really want to kill him. He didn't live enough, so naturally, he didn't want to die. He is only from a civilian background, I have investigated, his ancestors have been slaves for 4 generations, and he barely gave birth to a little ninja talent in his parents' generation, but both husband and wife are inferior and there is nothing prominent. Ye Chen's grandfather and above are all former slaves in the Warring States period, to put it bluntly, those ordinary people who have no ninja talent and are responsible for serving tea and pouring water for the ninja of the big clan to do some dirty work. And such a bloodline can actually give birth to a Super Shadow level, which really makes Uchiha a little curious. What you said is true. You should know what to do with teasing me. Hearing that Banny still didn't believe it, Na Baiju hurriedly said, "You can use illusion to check it, the investigation at that time, and Ye Chen's battle picture, I remember it very well." Banny's illusion has long been at the pinnacle of the realm, and he can even easily spy on other people's memories, or make other people's memories manifest. So as long as he thinks, everything that Baiju has explored, or seen, can be directly reproduced in front of his eyes. In the end, it was still cautious, and Banny finally made a move, allowing Baiju to regain everything he knew. At the beginning of the picture, the battle between Ye Chen and Jonin was given, and after seeing Ye Chen use a move that was almost identical to his complete body, Banny could no longer sit still, and the whole person stood up directly. Impossible. _ Feilu reminds you, 3 things to read, collect, push.